Hello, welcome to another episode of the Unnamed Gaming Podcast. And what's this? A second week where we remember short. Unfortunately,
Down a Bendy.
yes,
My life has no meaning.
Bendy cannot be with us this evening. I mean, we've got Nettle back, and then Bendy disappears.
Just pretend that we're all taking our holidays one week after the next.
Yeah, that's it. That's why there was three of us, so we could do this. Yeah. So welcome. We have things to talk about as usual. I am Tempusbe, the martial idiot, before Bendy tells me off for not saying it. Streamer, gamer, that malarkey. This is Nettle.
Hi, I'm Nettle. I'm General Idiot, and I'm back this week. Whee!
Craig clap, damn it.
So
He's
bad.
the worst. He's the worst. So, how are you, Nettle? It's been a couple of weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks. It's been a fucking stressful couple of weeks. But it's fine. It's fine. It's all nearly over. It's all nearly over.
It's getting there. Give it another month. You'll be laughing.
I might be in an insane asylum by that point, but it's fine. How are you doing?
That's fine. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not too bad, thank you. Just
Good.
the usual. So, well, I mean, I know you've been busy. Have you been playing anything?
I have played one new game. 2 weeks and I've played one new game, everyone. So I started playing Tunic, which we've been speaking about quite a lot in the old, host chat away from everyone else. It is a Zelda looking-esque Souls-like game. Why anybody decided that was a good thing to put together, I don't know. But it's very pretty. It's very cute. Everything is very cute in it. Even the enemies. It's like these little tarantulas. Well, they're not little, they're big tarantulas, but they're so cute. I want one. But yeah, it's a Souls-like game. It's hard. It's difficult. You will get your ass kicked. You have to learn how to play it. You have to learn how to fight. So if I'm going to say it, if you don't like Souls-like game on normal mode, see what I did there? You probably won't like the game. However, the developers have been very, very sensible in the fact that they knew this was a very cute game and they knew it was about exploring as well. So they've added a God mode to it. For those that don't know, in game development, with games, because you have to be able to run through them, you have to be able to test levels and all that kind of majarky, you have something called a God mode, which means you can't be killed at all. Usually you just hear a dunk every time something hits you, because it means you're invulnerable. And they've added this in, so people who are not good with Souls-like games can still play the game. They can still, both of us. They can still play the game, they can still fight, but you just won't die. And it is all about level exploration, and getting to know the story. Because there is a story there. I haven't quite figured out what the story is yet, but there is a story there. There are also other modes if you don't want to go into full God mode and full invincibility mode. There's like stamina, where your stamina won't be depleted. There's basically different things. You'll have to go into it, and it's whatever suits you best. And you can go in and change it throughout. So you can continue a run on a different setting and it'll work perfectly fine. So it's a good way to get you used to Souls-like games. If you have come to a boss that you cannot get past, it's taking you 10 or 11 times and you're just getting really frustrated, pop it into God mode, beat it, pop it out again, come back at a later date and try again on non-God mode. It's good. It's a little frustrating at times, even on God mode. The exploration is vast, wide, and because of the angle of the camera onto the player, it's like a top-down, I can't remember what the technical term is, but it's like a top-down.
It's almost like a
not full top-down, but like a
view, isn't it?
Isometric view, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I should know this. I should. I don't. But the problem is you're having to go around solid objects and the camera won't turn with you, and then there's a path that's like behind it that you could have seen this path unless you were just like running against the wall, and then you're like, oh, there's a path. So that is quite frustrating at times, but you just have to keep with it, and eventually you will find your way to go. I've gone to 2 of the areas and completed them now. I need to find out how to get to another area, and that's where I left it last night, because I was like, I don't have a fucking clue. No clue. So I'm going to leave it there tonight. But yeah, so it does have a bit of everything for everyone. Like I said, if you're not good at Souls-like games, you can just pop it into a different mode. Get used to it. You know, as I said, try learning. You never know, from this, you might actually go and play Dark Souls. Or Elden Ring. But yeah, give it a go. It's on Game Pass, our favourite place in the entire world, including Disney World. It's yeah, so
Game
it's
Pass
free.
World.
Game Pass World. So you're not going to lose anything from buying it, you know what I mean, getting it. And then, of course, my usual Destiny. The season quest line has come to an end. It's been a month. Since Witch Queen and the new season came out. And yes, the seasonal quest line has come to an end this last week. So that was fun. It was nice to get on. After a week and a half of not playing, I was going spare. I was severely behind in my light level, so I'm going to be doing a lot of grinding this weekend. I'm going to barricade myself into my room, and I'm just going to play Destiny. And maybe some other things. But that's it. That's what I played.
Good. I mean, to be fair, from my point of view, I've played Overwatch, and I've also started to play Tunic.
It was the hot game. We had to.
It was inevitable. So
inevitable.
I did play it the normal mode for about an hour. And like the way I look at it, it very much looks like the remake of Link's Awakening.
Yes. Yeah.
On the Switch, right?
Yeah.
That's the art style, and it looks really good. Like visually, it's brilliant. But you know, I kind of struggled. Like even early on, there was a couple of enemies that you think I've just started the game here, and these things are kicking the crap out of me.
Yep.
And you know, I can't. It kind of put me off purely because of the fact that I haven't got the patience to sit and grind out things for hours if I need to.
Yeah.
And then Nettle mentioned the fact that there was this God mode, so not realizing you could switch it between things, I started a new run with the God mode on, and I've pretty much got to. I mean, I've gone further than where I was, but I've done a little bit more exploration, but I haven't actually played too much of it, so I'm still quite early in. But it's really charming in the way it all looks cutesy and everything like that. And like Nettle said, even the enemies are quite cute, and they all have their tails for their attacks.
Yeah.
But it suits because I wanted to play this and I want to enjoy it, and I do actually want to finish it. And I don't think I'd have done that if I hadn't have been able to go through it. I mean, I know it kind of feels like you're missing half of the experience, but I've played it in the way that they want it to be played.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why people that like those kind of games would enjoy it. Like if you're a Soulsborne player, you'll like it. You will enjoy it. But because it's not for me, but I still want to know what's going on in the story. I still want to explore and run around. Being able to just, I'm not taking any damage, and I'm killing everything. But for me, it's more I want to know where this story is going to go, and I do actually feel like I want to finish it because I know we're quite early on in the year for games, but I feel like this one could be on award lists.
Absolutely, no, I agree with you, and the fact that they brought accessibility into it and thought about it. And I know a lot of people are like, but Souls games aren't meant to be like that. I don't give a shit. Your argument doesn't work.
Yep. But if the developers didn't want you to be able to play it a different way, they wouldn't have added it into the game, would they?
Absolutely. No, you're right. They put it in there because there is something there. There's a story. There's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of stuff going on that isn't just about the combat. So why have it in if you're going to have like half your audience who only get like not even a third of the way in? I mean, that's what you got to think about.
The other thing as well is you've got to think about the art style and everything. It's going to attract a lot of the younger audience to it, and they're never going to be able to handle that. So at least, you know, they've thought of it as a case of any like young gamer that wants to play it can still actually play the game and enjoy themselves playing it.
Yeah, no, a young person putting it into God mode, knowing that they don't have to worry about getting killed, is going to be able to play that game for hours without worrying. Also does bring in the fact that if they wanted to take it off and just try it in a normal Souls mode, they could. And you know what? If they beat a boss at any point during this period, they're going to feel so good. It's going to be a triumph. And that's what it's about. Souls games you have to learn, and like a lot of the time you don't. People just don't have the time to learn them. They're such big and hard games that being able to do certain things in a Souls manner will help. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I'm still getting angry about stuff, but that's fine because it's not gaming unless you're getting angry about it. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a big one for this year, I think, because everybody I know at my studio was so hyped for it, like really hyped. So
when I first saw the trailers and that for it, and like when I'd seen that it was a cutesy Soulsborne game, I was like, well, that's different.
What? That didn't work. It was. It does work.
The fact as well that it kind of like it just dropped on Game Pass without them advertising it whatsoever.
Yeah. I think we got one trailer for it and the Gaming Awards last year. I want to say that was when we saw it. Or it could have been Gamescom Possibly. That we saw it. And it was one of those anyway. And that was it until it dropped. So they've done a good job of getting it hyped without getting it hyped, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny, and it's very interesting because obviously we both said it's kind of like a Zelda-esque art style game, but ironically isn't on Nintendo Switch at all. It's just on Xbox, Macintosh, and Windows.
Fair enough.
So sorry Switch and sorry PS fans, not for you. It is only a timed exclusive on Xbox.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd imagine it'll turn up eventually.
So you will get it eventually. Just sorry, you can't have everything exclusive on PlayStation, guys.
Yeah, I can't wait for cutesy God of War.
That in my life.
Right. Okay. So, what did we do? We did intros. We did what have we been playing, which means it brings us to the angry section of the podcast, the news.
Yes.
And I will start off with Nettle.
And it is very angry. I'm very angry. Once again, we come back to studios being accused. No, you know what? Not even being accused. Studios being absolute cunt nuggets and having a toxic environment. And unfortunately, and I am upset about this. I mean, it was inevitably going to happen at some point. You know, the world is shitty enough and big enough at this point that it was going to happen. But the toxicity studios that have come out this week have been indie studios. Namely, people working with Annapurna Interactive. Yes. So the studios that have People Make Games is a YouTube channel, and they made a video about three indie studios with staff saying that their uppers were being toxic dickheads and making their lives miserable. And the three studios were Mountains, Phenomena, and Fulbright. And obviously, yeah, anybody who has been watching our podcast and our reviews will know that we did do a couple of the Fulbright ones. They were good games. But yeah, no, people have come out and said that they're just so shitty to work with. You know, the usual people crunching, being told they're rubbish, stuff isn't happening properly. And unfortunately, one of the studios members went to Annapurna Interactive as the publisher and said, "Can you help us?" And Annapurna turned around and went, "Okay, is this going to affect the game schedule?"
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about the game schedule if all of the fucking developers are dying because you're killing them inside.
Yeah.
It's just so aggravating. And unfortunately, from this, another set of staff from another studio came out. And this one might be the more upsetting one, just because everybody loves the game so much. Moon Studios, who made Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And it's come out and said how toxic they are, the mentality behind it is awful. There's been some rape involved, sexual misconduct.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep. And it has been said, it has been now, this is alleged, this bit is alleged. I can't say whether it's true or not, but it's been alleged that this is the reason why Microsoft will no longer work with the studio. Which is massive.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's huge considering, like, Ori's one of their biggest things. But also, well played, Microsoft, if this is the case.
Yeah.
It'll hopefully send a kind of shockwave about to say that, well, things have got to change.
I mean, the worst part of one of the studios, Phenomena, is one of the leads, one of the co-founders who's being accused of quite nasty stuff. I'm not going to go into it because it will upset people. Is a woman. Yeah. And it's just like, you cannot have any excuse for being a dick towards other women like that. And she gave, literally 3 days after the article, the YouTube video came out, she provided a very half-assed apology, which basically read of, "Well, I'm sorry you're mad." Great.
Get over it.
Yeah. It's just like, if this is your reaction to it, what do you expect? People aren't going to work for your studio anymore. People aren't putting up with this. But I will say, with Moon Studios, 2 co-founders. I'll give you one guess where one of them came from. Blizzard.
Yeah.
So it's so sickening to see still that it's still coming out. Stuff is still coming out. It's still clearly going on. And now it's going on in indie studios. The one place where we thought people would be able to be safe and have fun and create the games that they love. And they're just as bad as the AAAs. Which, I'm not saying anything, but it might have something to do with that question there.
Tangent. Well, no, sorry, it's a segue.
Segue. But yes, it's horrible, and there needs to be something. And what's going to happen that comes from this is we get unionized. Developers get unionized because they're not going to put up with this shit any longer. You know, we do a full day's work. We work our asses off. We should not have to put up with toxic founders and leads. You're not good enough, guys. You're not. You're never going to be.
You'd never get away with that in any other working environment, would you? So why think you can get away with it in gaming?
Exactly. I think, again, it comes back to this lad culture. I've got too angry for my camera again. This lad culture of, we're only joking and they didn't get offended. It's just like, shut up. Your dick stops talking, please. We don't want to hear it. Yeah, it's just another episode of toxicity in the gaming culture. Just stop it. Be better. It's not hard. Treat your employees the way you want to be treated. Because I can tell you now, if one of your employees treated you the way some of these co-founders and leads have been treating their employees, the employee would be fired in no time flat. Yep. So,
I think it's a lot of it is like, I think we touched on this before, but it's a lot of it's old school mentality towards things. You've still got people in charge that, unfortunately, even though it wasn't a big thing back then, it still was, but it wasn't brought to light as much. But like, it's that old school mentality of, well, this is how things worked around here, and they can't get it into their heads that things just don't work that way anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I am thankful for the majority of the part. There are less indie studios with these accusations coming against them. I think that's probably just because there are so many indie studios that that's inevitably going to be a thing. It's just like I really hope studio leads everywhere, indie or AA or AAA, are looking at all of these things going out, going, well, we don't really want this against us, so we better do something quick to make sure our employees are okay.
Well, you think about it as well. We've a lot of the bigger studios getting in trouble with these things. They've got the money to kind of deal with whatever comes their way. A lot of these indies, if they get into some serious trouble, they're gone.
Yeah.
They'll just lose everything.
Yeah. The problem will be, though, that because of who they are, the founders. So, in most indie studios, the founders of them tend to be people from the bigger studios that either collapsed or they decided just to expand off and do their own thing. So they've always got this background behind them. So they're always likely to get somewhere else. Even with this horrible situation that's surrounding them like a storm, there is always the same dickhead in another studio. It'll be like, I don't give a shit about that. Yeah, come and work with us. Whereas you've got the problem of the employees, the devs, being given this label of, well, they complained about their employer for whatever reason. We don't really want that in our life, so we're just going to say no. And this is just where it needs to just stop. No, I'm joking. Full stop. No, it's the simple solution is to not be a dickhead, but apparently that just goes beyond people's understanding.
I think, like, obviously, with the whole fact of like California suing Blizzard over everything, I think they, like you said, like a union to make things more safe for the developers. But even like some kind of policing, it's not difficult to do checks every now and then. I'd imagine if you set up, like, the government's only got to set up some kind of gaming division, haven't they? To, like, I know it's easier said than done, but
no, but there's this. It's this discussion that needs to happen. All of the ideas that come from the discussion can be looked at how good they are and how well they will be able to be implemented. But at the moment, nobody's really bothering to do this.
Yeah.
Other than, the poor women involved most of the time, / men. But it's women.
The thing is, I mean, it's good that they're stepping forward now. They feel like they can.
Although I will say, it looks like it is simply because of a YouTube, like a well-known reporting outlet on YouTube that's decided to snoop around and ask that these people have come forward.
Yeah.
So clearly people are still afraid to speak their mind.
Obviously, they've wanted to talk about it then, and the fact that someone's given them that outlet this will basically snowball now. Yeah. You'll see it. This will be coming on for weeks and months now. I think you'll see lots of it, and maybe it's good in a way. It'll try and hopefully root out the bigger problems.
You can only hope, because the gaming industry needs to get better. It's been said for the last 2 years. It's been said for ages, but the last 2 years has really come to a head. And this is the
Yeah.
year they need to start proving, studios need to start proving that they care about their employees.
Indeed, indeed.
So what's your news, Tempus?
So, I'm just going to put out a caveat here at the beginning. I will be talking leaks.
Leeks,
Leaks.
not the
So,
vegetable.
yeah. So, if you're not interested in listening to these leaks, I will say they're about Apex.
If you
So
are
obviously,
interested in Apex and you don't want to hear what's happening, just stop
yeah,
listening
pretty
now.
much just skip forward, give us like 5 minutes or so.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe we'll give a like a little time description somewhere. But yeah, if you're not interested in that, I'm just going to say now, you know, I'd understand. People don't want to have everything kind of spoiled for them, but it's quite big, and you know, I did obviously ask Nettle as well whether she was okay with me talking about this, but
If you just excuse me for 1 second, I need to pull my jumper off.
that's the OnlyFans portion.
Here we go.
Excellent.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so
My body's ready.
okay. Give us some time. Hopefully, we'll get a timestamp or something for you.
Yes.
But okay, so I shall go to my trusty. I've got 2 different pages open. But here we go. Apex Legend leaks have basically, let's see, there was a massive leak, and it looks like it's quite legitimate because of the fact that Respawn are going around doing everything they can to get any pictures and videos and stuff taken down. So, but what it does is there's like, it looks like there's training videos for certain new characters, and I've got a picture of like the dev version of the hero screen.
Yeah.
So, on this dev screen, you've got everything up to Mad Maggie. You've then got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 more.
No.
I've been unexpectedly disconnected. Craig, you've got 1 job, Craig.
I've got it recording.
Okay.
We can.
Right.
Yeah.
Trust him to go down when it's my turn to spit. Anyway, there is 9 other heroes from here. All right. I'm going to put this in here now, in case you want to look at it.
Yeah. Give me the sweet.
Some have got artwork. Well, most of them have got artwork. There's 2 that might not be fully. It's a Reddit thing, but
of course it is. Why? What else would it be?
But on that page, it also shows you some other thing I'm going to talk about in a second. But when you've got it up,
I got it. Ooh,
so after Mad Maggie, we can see Conduit, who they've said looks like the training dummies.
I wonder if that's a placeholder, though.
I mean, they've said that, and then I'd have probably said that, except for the fact that pretty much everyone else has got artwork.
Kind of. It's not finished artwork, though. This artwork is, for the majority of it, in fact, all of it, is 2D, not 3D.
Yeah. No, I get that, but obviously, you've got to take all of this with a pinch of salt as well.
Oh, obviously.
But like the way they've speculated is that the order that these are in will be the order that they come out. So, but obviously we've got Conduit, who is like a healer. You've got Scryer, who is yet again another scanning hero. Newcastle, who is a shield hero. There's actually a thing somewhere. Where is it? I think it's a bit further down.
Yeah.
Or is it on this other one I've got? Because I've got 2 pages at the minute.
It's got all the spoilers, guys.
I have. I've got. Oh, well, that's what I mean. I've got 2 different pages of it. But like Newcastle, his thing is like it shows you his skill set.
Oh, right.
I've lost my hero page. Right. Anyway. where was I? So yes, you got Newcastle, you got Uplink, who looks both of those are shield heroes, like defense heroes. You got Vantage, another scrying, Catalyst, another defense, Phantom, who is a healer, Jester. It's just a
Nothing.
white screen; you can't see
Yeah.
nothing on that, and Caliber, who looks like another healer.
Who looks like Zeus.
Obviously, yeah, he looks like Reinhardt. That's all I see on that, but that's the Overwatch in me. But yeah, so they've got. I mean, yes, pinch of salt, but at the same time, if they're going around trying to get this all taken down, if it was fake,
there's some validity about it.
So odds are we might, these might all be placeholders for now for certain things. They might not be finished. They might still be in the works. But from what I can tell, they are well in advance. You've got a couple of years worth of stuff here, I think. Considering how long's a season? 2, 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
3 months, and you get a new hero every 3 months. So yeah, there's like 9 new heroes. Season 12, Heirloom, will be Crypto. It's like if you scroll down, it's like a little video.
Give me Horizon, one, you cowards!
It's like a hacking device that turns into a katana.
Oh, really? Okay, that's kind of cool. But it's crypto, so fuck off.
and season 13, Heirloom, Valkyrie. Looks like some kind of spear.
Podcast's over, guys. I'm angry.
That's it. She's angry.
I'm over Horizon! Like, come on!
They've also got textured legendary skins.
Oh.
They just look really, really shiny.
Shiny.
A new map called Divided Moon.
Oh, Gravity Defiant, please!
Okay, and new weapons. Let's mute that in case you can hear it. Nemesis, which is an energy assault. A Scorpion, which is another bow. Maelstrom, which is a light and LMG gun. A Fanatic, which is energy and an akimbo pistol. Dual wield it. And Gemini, an energy SMG.
Okay. Do you like me some SMGs?
Yes. But I think.
Don't say but.
I think just scrolling through it, that's pretty much the main stuff. So they've got 9 new heroes. They've already got a new map. They've got like 5 new weapons. They've got proper like ultra tier skins. They know who the next 2 heirloom weapons belong to. And
if this is correct with the characters, I'm wondering whether they're going to release a character pack rather than doing it like this is. It feels like there's no way they'd have the next year or two's worth of characters already.
I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, from things that I kind of understand with the heroes they release for Overwatch, they have quite a few in the works, and then they kind of working on all of them a little bit, and then they kind of pull one forward and like, right, we're going to finish this one. This will be the next one. Because you can't, I doubt you'd be sitting there working on one at a time, not even thinking about the next one.
No. I think probably 4 they're working on at a time, but 9, that's a lot. Especially to have them all in this particular branch of like the game, the dev cycle.
Yeah.
This feels like a big batch of characters all coming out at once. To me. Maybe 1 or 2 coming out, 1 at a time, 2 at a time, and then maybe one season
1, 2,
they just
3. I mean, not unless Jester's the only one we can't see.
Yeah.
Unless Jester is an assault character, none of these new characters are assault. And I mean, I can kind of understand it because the last 2 have been assault. But like what you think about it, it's been quite weird. Like if you look at where you started with your extras, you started off with basically 1 defense, 1 medic, 2 scanners, 2 assault.
Yeah.
Then you went defense, assault, defense, scan, assault, support, defense, assault,
Assault.
scan, assault. So there's plenty of assault in there. And this is the thing as well. Like, assault doesn't mean none of these characters don't shoot.
Oh no,
Obviously,
yeah,
it just means that like their kit, their kit is more made towards attacking.
I do have a slightly more upsetting option for why there's so many new ones.
They're going to take some out.
They're free ones that you get. Bloodhound, Gibraltar, Lifeline, Pathfinder, Wraith, Bangalore.
I'd be surprised if they just took heroes out.
Rotation, innit?
Yeah,
they're getting to the point now. They've got so much stuff that they're going to have to start thinking about rotating.
I mean, this is all speculation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this could be bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, pinch of salt, but I think the fact that Respawn are trying to get rid of it kind of puts some validity to it.
Yeah.
Especially considering as well, there's like actual video work of, and it's not even like everything's fully finished either. You can see it's like in the models, like the crypto heirloom looks well and done, but the Valkyrie one, it's just grey block model.
Oh, it's the block out.
Yeah.
White box.
No. It's like you can see like kind of the shape. It actually looks like a shape, so they've made the shape to it, but it's like very grey and there's still like gaps in it and pieces. So
box.
I don't know fucking terminology. I've got what's in front of me, all right. But like obviously some people are calling it fake and stuff like that, and they will, but
we'll never know until it happens. That's the thing.
I think the thing is, the way you got to look at it is a case of now Respawn are either going to go away and kind of mix these up a little bit just so it doesn't look like everything's exactly how it was. They probably keep the heirlooms as they were.
Yeah.
You could easily rename some of these characters. Give them a little bit of a makeover change from what these pictures look like, just so you can go, well, you were close, but who knows?
It's interesting, and it's interesting to see how they'll respond in the long term.
Yeah, well, considering what we've got, I'm sure I looked the other day, I think it was like 50 days left of this season when I looked, so we've got just under 2 months. So where does that take us? We're in March, so April, so beginning of May-ish. So beginning of May, new season, which means new hero drops. And obviously we'll get all the teasers and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's like they've said that they've speculated this is the order that they think these heroes will come out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be it. I think they'll look at what's needed in the game more. I mean, I'm not being funny. The fact that it's a support character and it's going to be only the third support character if it happens in the game. Like, I'm not being funny. You've got a medic and Loba's support is she just fucking robs things.
I was going to say she's not really a support. She's just a thief.
Yeah. But like, I get why she's a support because she's like, she gives everyone access to things that are quicker go. But I definitely feel like you need, like from playing it, if you got a couple more healing heroes in there, but I think they're looking at it as a case of, can you imagine a team of like 3 healers just running around? It's like, who knows?
I wonder it looks like he could nick people's abilities.
Yeah. I mean, what you mean, like a bit of a mimic?
Yeah.
A bit like Echo.
Yeah.
In Overwatch, yeah. He basically scans someone and he takes their abilities. That could be quite interesting. I quite like that. But yeah.
Should be a game designer.
Speculation over. Yeah, so I mean that was it. I just thought, because I see it this morning, I thought that's quite big.
It's interesting. I always like when okay, caveat. I don't like letting leaks happen. I don't like it like that, all right? I like to see how the studio reacts to it. Because they could be really dickish about it, or they could be like, well, you got us, guys. Now you're going to have to wait another 6 months. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting news. I do have one more piece of news that I think we should talk about.
Go on in.
Because I know how much we love this particular series. So, some of you may have already seen this. I got very excited. I squealed. I'm not going to lie. CD Projekt Red officially announced that they were working on their next Witcher!
Yay!
Not only that, they're taking themselves away from the old Red engine and going on to Unreal 5 and having a partnership, because they're using Unreal 5, with Epic. So that'll be fun. I know some gossip. About why they're going over to that. Basically, in the middle of the development for Cyberpunk 2077, their lead engineer, engine engineer, left. He was a bit of a dick, apparently. But yeah, he left, and they had nobody who could really run the engine properly, which is one of the reasons it was so bad. So that is that's the main reason they're going to Unreal 5, because obviously there's a lot more Unreal 5, 4 and 5 engineers that can run that. Yeah. So, but yes, and the picture that came out with it was, we're not sure, a big cat, an Egyptian mummy tomb thing. We don't know.
I mean, from what I've seen from it, people are speculating, like, obviously there's many things that could happen here. They've already come out and said it's not going to be called The Witcher 4.
No.
So I feel like it's going to be the start of a new series. Possibly
it would make
where
sense.
You play as Ciri.
Possibly. She is technically, she made herself a Witcher of the school of the cat, not of the wolf. So it was a cat-like pendant.
So I mean, that would probably be best odds towards something. What I'd really love is a game where you just design and make your own Witcher. Like RPG, that shit.
Yeah.
Give me Monster Hunter World levels of character design, and then just let me run around doing my own stuff. Take quests, hunt monsters. Oh.
I mean, the way to figure out whether that's going to be a thing is to see who they're hiring. If they're hiring people if they're asking for people who know MMO type games, that kind of thing. Do you know how to have you made a game before that's been for multiple people? Have you done this? Look at what they're trying to hire and what they're asking within, and that will tell you exactly what the game is going to be like.
Yeah.
Side secret there.
Well, I think this is probably still a couple of years away.
Oh, more than that. I think they're going to learn from 2077. This is not going. We're not going to see this for another 3 or 4 years.
I'd say I'm kind of surprised they've announced it, but at the same time, I think they've basically gone, we need a boost.
Somebody to buy our games.
Yeah, we need a boost.
They've got a DLC at some point, I think, this year coming out for 2077. So they're gonna get something. And of course, right after they announced that the game was coming out, they also announced that there was a massive sale on Witcher products. So
yeah.
And it probably worked, quite frankly. Now is the time to get into The Witcher 3, guys. Just saying.
Well, I kind of also have another small piece of news.
Wow, we're just with you guys. Look at this, guys!
I know,
we're spoiling you!
But announced actually earlier today, Wednesday, Suicide Squad Let's Kill the Justice League has been delayed to spring 2023.
Again! Jesus!
It's basically been pushed another year.
I mean, if it's good for the people who are making it, they're fine, but why? Why have they been so bad in their development cycle? Like, how did they get this so wrong?
I mean, I've kind of added this in at the end because I kind of want to, because I think this will
This will roll on,
be a
guys.
bit of a discussion, because I will say our our topic, our question, our discussion this week, given to us by Zonked, was I mean, I've kind of tweaked it a little bit, but it was indies versus AAAs, pros and cons. So
This is going to be a topic, guys.
yeah, so you might want to get a cup of tea, pause the podcast, sit down. I mean, I'm
You're
probably
in
going
it
to
for the
talk a
long
load of
haul.
rubbish. Nettle's going to correct me a lot, but like obviously, I will be talking from my point of view as an outsider to the industry, whereas Nettle has insight, so it will be a good kind of back and forth between things. But yeah, like obviously, starting things off is the fact that this is a big AAA game, and yet again, it's been delayed. Like we've seen a lot of games doing at the moment. Like, I mean, a lot. You never really saw games getting delayed until maybe. I know the pandemic had a lot to do with these kind of things. I'm not going to say that they've just all of a sudden gone,
Yeah.
we're shit at making games.
No,
But
and I will say this: at no point are we ever saying that a game studio is shit at making games. That is
no,
never going to be the case. But there are
no,
reasons why there are delays.
yeah. But it's the fact that what we've known about this game for maybe a couple of years.
Yeah, at least.
It's been out for a while. We've been seeing a lot of stuff for it. I think I'm just going to Google. Kill the Justice League. Here we go. All right. Release date. Let's see if it will give me a time. Well, the Wikipedia's already been changed to 2023, but initial release date was 2022 this year. I mean,
It was
I'll
meant
see
to
if
be
I can.
earlier this year, and then it got delayed to later this year, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
So let's see, because I think it kind of got announced. Here we go. Rocksteady Studios announced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in August 2020
Yep.
because everyone was expecting a new Arkham game.
Yeah.
And then obviously we are getting Gotham Knights as well, which is out not long.
Was it
I think
not?
no, I think Gotham Knights is quite.
Much to that.
I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, 25th of October this year.
Yeah, that's soon enough in game development terms.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe. But yeah, so August 2020, it was announced. So
Yeah.
obviously they've probably been working on it well before that anyway,
Yep.
because you never announce a game before you've done anything. So although it looks like this is the first time it's been pushed back.
I'm sure Bendy said something about being pushed back a few weeks ago.
From what I've got here, it just says that they announced today that it'll be pushed back from 2022 to early 2023. But basically, they're giving themselves another year.
Yeah.
So they must have felt like they were confident with it coming out, and then something's happened.
As is the way, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to playing this game. For one, it's one of the ones I'm quite looking forward to. It's on my list of must plays. But at the same time, I mean, I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I know all the shit that went on behind it, and I would rather wait for a polished game. Yeah, it's another year, but it's not like no other game is coming out between that time for me to play.
No.
You know, it's not like that's the only game that I was going to play this year. There will be other things to play.
Yeah.
But I'd rather them take a year, if they need a year, to get it all done. And maybe that's why they've done it as a year, rather than you think about it again, bringing up Cyberpunk. I think they delayed it by like a month, like 3 times on the bounce.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to get this. Like I'm guessing it was more the studio wanting to get this game out, but the developers were kind of like, look, you need to give us time, but they just weren't giving them the time they really needed.
Yeah, so yeah, the thing with CD Projekt Red was basically management went, no, you're getting out at this time, and all of the devs went, no, and they went, no, you're getting out at this time, and they were like, okay, so I guess we're staying all night then for 6 months.
Yeah, but like obviously this is coming back like full circle to our topic, indies versus AAAs, from kind of my perspective. Obviously, you can tell me if I'm completely talking out my ass, but it feels like the studios that are pushing out these big AAA games want these games out, and like they kind of don't care really if, like, you know, they give you a time, they want it done by that time, and then obviously yes, they'll kind of caveat by giving you a little bit of time if you need it. But again, I feel horrible just keep bringing it up, but it's the most recent one that's really had the big problem. But with Cyberpunk, it just feels like they wanted it out and done, and it just come out as an incomplete game. And it's just, I mean, from what I've understand with all the patches and everything now, it's become a playable game.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but
it's tarnished.
like, yeah, it's got a reputation now. And that's the thing. I think the kind of between those two sides of things, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that indie developers do still have a kind of time limit. But I'm wondering, like, I kind of feel like maybe they're not as. But then, obviously, this was coming back to something earlier you said about they were getting crunched. But before I knew this today, from what I kind of felt like the indie studios weren't getting pushed as much to get their games done as a big AAA game.
So, you're not entirely wrong. Indie studios tend to be able to set their own deadlines when it comes to contractual terms. So they will look at the resources they've got, they will look at how much they want to get paid, and they will say within that time we can do it by this date. And that's generally usually okay for publishers. However, within that contractual, so for example, usually it's about 3 years for development. Within that time, you will get milestones within the contract. So you have to have a certain amount done by June. You have to have a certain more amount by October, then a certain more by January. And the way a lot of publishers work is you will get paid by each milestone you complete. If you get to that milestone and you haven't completed something, technically the publisher is well within their rights to say we are not going to pay you for the next bit because you haven't delivered what we asked. Majority of the time, that doesn't happen. They're obviously very flexible. They're not stupid. But some publishers are like that. So you will have to crunch to get every inch of that milestone contract, done. It's not good. I don't like it, but it's the way things work. Now, as I said, the majority of publishers will look at things, and if you've given them a perfectly good explanation as to why a certain thing wasn't done, and you can show that you are still working on it, they'll be like, yeah, it's fine, just do it for the next milestone. But there's always that lingering, looming doubt over your head when you go to say, okay, the next milestone's coming up, but we don't quite have this thing ready. They will literally turn around and go, well, I'm not going to pass you for it, you're not going to get paid. Now, you don't really get that in AAA studios because they usually publish themselves. So they don't get that thing. They're going to get money either way. The money's there. They don't need that money to develop because it's just coming with an organization. So it's actually a little bit of both for each studio. The difference is the managers in AAA studios will expect and they won't care. If you show a lead or a director in a AAA studio that something's quite janky about this and we don't really think it should be, they'll sit there and go, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about this game. I just want it to go out. I want my money from it. Whereas a director in an indie studio will sit there going, I don't even know, don't even think about, go back, do it again. They care way more. Indie studio directors, leads, heads, generally, I cannot whitewash this the entire way through because it's never going to be a case. They will generally care more about the games that they're putting out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I kind of feel like as well. It's like obviously with AAA studios and games is like they are this big company and they kind of expect big things from it, whereas someone that's working on a small indie game, this is probably their life's work to a degree. Like especially if it's like their first game, like this is everything to them, so they will do everything they can to make this game perfect before it touches a console or a PC to be played on. And I kind of, I'm not saying that the big AAA companies like no one cares about. I imagine there are people in there that love obviously the Witcher series. We've
Yeah,
mentioned that. That's going to get so much love, I think, within the CD Projekt Red.
you'd hope so.
I hope so. Being a recent Witcher convert, but yeah, like you get the feeling from indie games that these are small groups of people, sometimes even one,
Yeah.
working on a game that they absolutely love. And yeah, I know some of them go out in beta before it's finished, but that helps them in a way. And I think kind of that's a bit of a pro to some of indie games is that they can do that. Whereas I don't think very many AAA games go out into just a beta and then let the game continue being developed.
Not anymore, they don't.
No.
I remember when they used to. I remember when we used to get betas all the time for stuff. You don't get any more.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like this isn't a case of what's better than what. This is not what this discussion is about, because AAA games are brilliant when they're done properly. Indie games are fantastic, and you can find some proper gems. This is more a case of like who, like, it's like what's good and what's bad from each point of view kind of thing. And I
You will
think it's
never
not.
find a perfect example of what you could use as an example in
Yeah.
either category. Unless your name is Super Giant Games, in which case, yeah, whatever. I made Hades, I made Transistor, we're perfect, we're only 25 people. I love you!
Call us. But yeah, like it's I asked this out and I've had like a little think about some things, but like my main kind of thing was a case of it's a AAA game. A studio will generally like be working on that one game. You look at Rockstar, that literally work on GTA, then they literally work on Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
And that's because they're the big studio. They've got the people to kind of grind out the big games. They don't need to be worrying about making loads of games all at once. Whereas you think some like the middling companies, they
Yeah.
might have 2 or 3 in the works.
Yeah, that's generally the case. Middling companies generally have the
Yeah.
more medium-sized, like 2 or 3 medium-sized games going on, and then you've got the
Yeah.
indies who basically can only afford to have one game going on.
They're doing their one, and they're hoping a studio will pick it up.
Yeah.
To push it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I also think this is a good question because obviously we've said, what do you prefer, AAA or indie? And of course there is the AA in the middle that always gets forgotten about.
Poor AA.
Poor AA's. They try their hardest.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. We're not taking. We're not, like I said, we're not here to sit here and decide who is the better between whatever. It's just a case of like.
Wait, what? That wasn't the assignment? I thought we were gods.
Well, I mean, we are, but we're benevolent gods.
Oh, really? It's not what I signed up for.
hang on, let me just check the script. No, but like, obviously, it's. I think kind of when Zonk kind of put it, because he did just literally put indies versus AAAs, so I
Thanks,
kind of had
Zogs.
to, yeah, I had to kind of wheel something around this, but like obviously, I think everything has their ups and everything has their downs. Like you say, like the indies, they've put their kind of like time and effort into a game because, like I said, it's generally their life's work, and
Yeah.
they want this to succeed and they need it to succeed, so they will give every ounce of blood into this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like some of the bigger, like again, bigger studios, it just feels like they just want this game out and they will go, right, it's due this time, and the game is just good. Like even I'd imagine even sometimes when the initial release date is given, a lot of the people working on these games are like, we're never going to make that. Considering how big some of these games are nowadays as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Yeah, that's why I'd never work for a AAA company. Not even Destiny. I would never work for Bungie. I would never work for Bungie. Not only am I
Microsoft?
never going to
Oh
work...
no, they're
Sony.
Sony now, aren't they?
Not only would I
One of them.
never work on a live game, because fuck off. Why would I want to have to continually work every time something went remotely wrong because somebody moaned about it on the internet? Yeah. 2, working to the deadlines they have to work to would just be... I would literally rip my hair out. I couldn't do it. Hard enough in an indie game company.
I mean, I know talking to you sometimes, like I said, you work at a small studio in Guild. No, I won't say where. But like, you know, even you are like, oh my god, this week is going to be mental. You know, so even on the indie side of things, it's there are crunches, there are time frames, there are problems. You know, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be a distinction here between like normal working crunch and unhealthy crunch. Like, I don't work over my hours. I get to 5:30 and our directors are like, right, 5:30, turn your computers off, go home. We don't want to see you in the studio after this time. If it's not finished, it's not finished. We'll think about it tomorrow. But within the working day, I'm still like, okay, this is going to be done by this time, and I've got to think about this, and that person's over there, and that person is now blocking this person because they haven't finished that, and it's like, that is crunch just as a general thing. When a deadline is coming up, that is what happens.
Yeah.
But indie studios will generally not like that. There's a lot, if you look at hiring pages on indie studios now, a lot of people are saying, we don't crunch. We will not take up your time. We expect you to work in our working time, but once it gets to, 8 o'clock, we don't want you in our studio anymore because we don't want you to overdo yourself. You will never get that in a AAA studio because they will expect you to work over.
That's the thing, though. You're probably going to get a better working environment, a better working ethic as well.
Not get paid as much, but I mean, you got to give or take.
You get to go home every night. You get to go and have a dinner. You know, it's
the pub.
But anything you're getting your own free time. Whereas, like you said, at some of these AAA studios, there are probably times where they work literally all day and most of the way through the night, and then they have to be back first thing in the morning.
Yep.
And
I will say, actually, this type of crunch, it's not just... It's very software and like gaming software, computer industry related. It is like there are other places that do the same thing that, work with software and stuff. I don't know why we've got to this stage in computer working environments where people are just like, well, you can be on whenever you want, so be on all the time. Sure, let's just die at our computers, shall we? But yeah, it's just a thing that like people are expected because they can work, and especially now that people are like working from home, a lot of it, like places are like, well, you could just hop on and fix this quickly. I could if I was working,
Yeah.
but I'm not, so fuck off.
That's the thing as well, because you've got access to doing it at home. They kind of are like, just expect you to just do it
Yeah.
whenever now,
Yeah.
at their beck and call, because you've got access to your computer. But like, I think this is kind of stealing a slight bit as well from Zonk's second question he gave us, possibly
It's
coming up
fine.
in
He
the
put it in
future.
our Discord, so we'll take
Yeah.
it.
Speaking of Discord, come join ours. You can get in on all the discussions.
Talk to us personally.
Link below. But like, sometimes as well, as you look at it like AAA games, you'll get this massive hype, and it will be a pile of trash.
Anthem.
Yep. And then from the other scale of things, this tiny little indie game could blow up to be something huge. Like, people just adore it. I mean, I'm looking at you unpacking, but it's like this game that just kind of, you hear nothing about. It's just released, and then it's like, this is fantastic. You know, I'm sure there's other examples. I probably had one in my head somewhere, but like, you know what I mean? It's like they're kind of,
I mean,
as he's
one of
put,
your
like,
favorite games in the entire world. Stardew Valley.
Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously. But yeah, but you think about it, they kind of just, he worked on his own, did his own thing with that, got a studio that helped him set it all up, like get it out there.
Fish, yeah.
Also, slight bit of news now, he now controls the
He
aspect,
is!
every aspect of that
Eric
game
has
now.
everything. Amazing.
So, congratulations to you.
Success.
But yeah, like these indie games, you could just go, oh, this looks all right, and it's, you know, that's the thing, a lot of them don't really actually cost you that much to buy. And like, for like a $5, it could be one of the best games you play that year.
That $5 means much more to that indie studio or that single developer than it ever will to a AAA studio.
Yeah, because that AAA studio will want 50 quid instead. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of leaning in from something else he'd mentioned. But like, obviously, I think that's quite true to it. The fact that, yeah, you do get a lot of indie games kind of just released, and
yeah,
some of them are going to be, some are going to be crap. I'm not going to lie. It's just,
obviously not every game is going to be good.
No.
I mean, it's the same with a book or a DVD or a single,
Exactly.
anything. It's entertainment.
Nothing could be perfect, but you know, I just like the fact that these indie games, it could just be someone working on something that absolutely adore it, put it out there, and it just blows up because it is just brilliant. And I think it's hard for you to get that kind of feeling with AAA games, because they are advertised and pushed, and you hear everything about it, and yeah, you might be excited to play it, but by the time it kind of like comes around, you're either going to be disappointed because there was too much hype, or it's kind of, you know, how you'd expect it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing with AAA. If it comes off right, if it's done right, it's one of the most amazing things that's ever happened. The Witcher 3, for example. And it was. Not to say that it didn't have bugs and stuff when it came out, it obviously did, but it's a fucking good game that was done very well. And then the next game they brought out was fucking wank! Who said there was ever consistency? But like, yeah, I mean, you get obviously Stardew Valley. We'll use that because it's a very good example. And we're waiting for the Haunted Chocolatier. We don't know if it's going to be as consistently good as Stardew Valley was. If it's kind of anything like Stardew Valley, then yeah, it probably will.
I mean, I get the feeling because I think he spent a long time working on Stardew before he even thought about releasing it.
I'm sorry, I don't know why my camera's decided to be really blurry.
But like, obviously he's been working in the background on Stardew Valley for years as well. But I'd imagine he's been working on this second game for a while now.
He has been, obviously, because he's been able to release pictures of certain aspects of it with clearly some gameplay going on. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think the thing that kind of gets me at the minute, and yes, I'm excited for the new Witcher game. Don't get me wrong. When I saw that, I was like, "Yes, fantastic!" Considering I'm literally still finishing up the third one. But at the same time, I think I'd be more excited for something if when they announced it, it had a little substance to it. You know, they've basically laid out the groundwork of hype with this image, but I think from me personally, I'd like to see, even if it was like a 30-second like trailer of something like not necessarily even in-game engine kind of thing, but like if you got the style of like it's not what I'm trying to say. Just give me
yeah,
a if you're gonna do it like that, give me a teaser. I want to
tease
see that
me.
I want to see that you've been working on it at the same time, because like a lot of these games, they announce it and then it's like 4 or 5 years before you see it. You've waited so long for it, and then other times the game gets announced and everything, and then you never hear about it again. They just kind of go, actually, we won't bother with that. We'll just shelve it. Or in some cases, they make the entire fucking game, then decide they don't want to
Then
release
shelve
it.
it.
We're looking at you, Microsoft. Give us Scalebound.
No, I don't understand that. I mean, there obviously has to be some reason that they've done it financially. People are weird.
No, it can't be financially, because they've already paid the fucking money to get the game. Pretty much, it was like a month away from being released. I really don't know what went on, like for that situation.
That situation is the things that you want to be the fly on the wall for, because they are the most interesting conversations to have.
Something must have happened with, but I mean, I would say the studio, but the studio is still around. Is it Platinum Games, isn't it? So they're making games and stuff, and they still want to make this game. It just baffles me that like a month before release date, Microsoft were just like, yeah, we're not doing this game anymore.
It's bizarre. I mean, the legalese inside of me thinks that perhaps they didn't, like, some aspect of the game would have copyrighted a different aspect of a different game, and they didn't want to get the subpoena for it. But you're never gonna know. You're literally never gonna know until they say, and they're never gonna say. So
can you imagine spending all those years working on this
well,
game? You're like so close to release.
This is where it brings in, because a AAA studio, even though it's a stupid idea to do it, can. If an indie studio did that, they would not be a studio anymore. They would go under.
Yeah.
It's just big. It's like, the rich throwing away an entire Porsche because they don't want it anymore. That's the equivalent. It's because we're rich, we can fucking do whatever we want.
Well, it's like, obviously, you said, like, for an indie studio, they need this game to go out.
Even if it doesn't get like 80%, and even if it's over 60, it's fine for them,
At the end of the day, they want their game out there. They want people to get it, to play it, to hopefully like it, to then like their studio enough
to get it,
so that when they can either get brought on for another game, or if they do eventually make a second game, the people that liked the first game will then go, I'm going to go and play that. So it's really weird, isn't it? It's just
it's our situation.
Yeah, but yeah. I think we got through some stuff.
It is. I will say, I'm going to get told off for this. I tend to kind of take sides. I will always prefer an indie over a AAA game. I always will.
I mean, I can see what you're saying. I think I've probably played more AAA games probably in my life.
Definitely played more indie in my life.
But saying that, like I think more in recent, because like until I'm even going to put it down to like streaming. I would probably only buy and play the big games that interested me. I never really bothered looking around at stuff, and I think Game Pass has helped as well. Is I've played a lot of small indie games off of the Game Pass that have been brilliant that I wouldn't have got before because it was on there. But even still, like I've played. Obviously, I got Stardew Valley when it came out just because it looked great. But like Phasmophobia,
Yeah.
one of our favorite games to play as a group, one guy developer until recently,
Very recently, yeah.
and it's a brilliant game.
Fantastic.
You know, and again, this is going back to these is one of these games that he's released as a beta so that he can earn the money off of it to then make the game better. Because I think that's quite smart with the fact as well is the fact that you can put it out there, you can start earning your revenue on the game, which will then help you to then make the game better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess sometimes that's the only way you can do it, especially if you are, like in his case, a single developer working on an entire game, and you've probably used all of your own money to get there. Because did he publish it himself?
Soon see that. Yeah, he self-published. Mind you, it's only published on Microsoft, which I will say is much easier to do as a self-publisher.
Yeah, but even still, he's taken it upon himself to just do everything on his own, which could have been a risk. But
I mean, it's just his concept for the game. He clearly thought about it. He clearly looked at other games and went, "How am I going to make this distinguishable against other games of similar ilk?" And he worked. It really worked.
And now he's pretty much the blueprint you see for everything else that has come since.
In my opinion, they're not really the same.
But like, I mean, they're all trying to do their own thing to it, which is the thing is you're always going to get games that are similar to other games.
Absolutely.
But you know, as long as you do something a little different to make your game stand out, or at least have a different, like I'm going to say Ghost Hunter's Core, pretty much the same concept, except for the fact that you have to exercise the ghost.
Yeah.
So they've given you like extra equipment. You have to find out what the ghost is and then get rid of it.
And there's a new one now called Ghost Exile, which I think is actually the same as Ghost Corp. Oh no, maybe they're the same one. I think they changed their name, actually saying that.
No.
Don't quite
Ghost Exile is a different game.
Oh, it is a different game.
Yeah.
They just changed their name.
I don't think I've fully watched, because there's a streamer I watched, Handsome Jesse. He's a horror streamer.
Yes.
So he will literally play. This is quite fun. He's got his own kind of challenge for Faz. Is he plays on Nightmare mode. He can only use the original equipment, and he has to go through every map one after the other, either not dying and not getting the ghost wrong. He got up
if he dies or gets the ghost wrong.
Yeah, if he dies or gets the ghost wrong, he has to start again.
Oh, that's a long ass stream.
he obviously doesn't do it, you know, all in one. Like he tries to do it in one go, but I think he got to 7 the other day.
Hey, that's not bad.
Map. Yeah, so he's doing pretty well. But he's been playing Ghost Exile as well. He keeps putting it on, and I keep missing it. But I think it's like the ghosts are like groups of ghosts.
Yeah.
But he has been watching another. I have actually caught him playing something else as well. I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called now. But it's a single player kind of almost Faz. But you're in a house. You've got all your equipment and stuff. You're basically trying to figure out who killed who in this house.
So like the dead person.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it almost feels like he's a priest, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. It'll probably come to me after we finish this. But yeah, that seems quite cool. But it's a single player kind of experience. The house is always the same. Entities come out of mirrors, and you have to go and cover the mirror back up, otherwise it'll get you.
Oh no, I'm not playing that.
Yeah, I think but like you get like a list of people, and you have to you get clues from around the house, and then you give like everyone's got a description, and you kind of work out things like that. So it's quite like detective-y rather than just it's this ghost. But
Interesting.
yeah, so I mean, like going back to it, there's loads of games that are kind of the similar ilk, but I've noticed there's a lot of games that are actually diversing themselves away from the Faz blueprint as well, which is I think you need to, because if you have like 20 games that are all pretty much the same thing,
you're not going to get the full whack there. But this does link back to the question in that I think it's much easier for indies to have very similar games in respect of what they do than AAA ones do, because if a AAA game comes out and is very similar to another AAA, all they hear throughout the end of time is, well, it's exactly the same as this game. Nah. I mean, yeah, it's not great, but I mean, it's just the way it was. They just happen to be the same.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like it's the way things go. Your ideas only go so far.
Yeah, obviously.
You're going to recycle stories.
Absolutely.
You're going to recycle kind of game styles. I mean, you look, for example, like not necessarily like the big adventure games thing, like you had FIFA versus PES. You've got Forza and Gran Turismo. They all come out at the same time.
Yeah.
They're pretty, I don't play the racing games. I know there's slight differences to them.
Yeah.
But I think Forza is quite a bit more like open world, whereas Gran Turismo is kind of tracky. But at the same time, they're both like the AAA racing game. Yeah. They're both doing the same thing. It's just one's on one console, the other's on the other. But yeah, I think we've discussed enough.
I think we've gone on for a good while there.
Yes, it's been a discussive episode. So thank you, Zonkt, for your question. Appreciate
Thank you,
Zonkt. If you have a question or a topic, or would just like to come in and chat to us, come and join our Discord. The link will be below. You are welcome to come and chat with us. We're always in there discussing things. We talk news, whatever. I did think about it the other day, but I was too slow. With obviously they did the State of Play, the Harry Potter one. I kind of feel like maybe if I've got the time, when they do these State of Plays or like kind of game conference like things, and maybe even Nintendo Directs, is I might do like watch-alongs in the Discord, so we can discuss them as we're watching it. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you want to get into discussion, come join us. Plus, also,
join us.
If you're hearing this on Saturday or any time before the 31st of March, we are running a competition on our Twitter page for one lucky winner to win a pair of 3-day tickets to the new, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. How did that work out? To the new gaming convention in London, which runs from the 7th to the 9th of April, called WASD Live. We will leave a link to that below if you're interested. We've got a tweet that you just need to like and comment on to enter. Bearing in mind, this is the beginning of next month, so you've got 2 weeks. Or at the time you're hearing this, you've probably got a week. Or not even. Yeah, you've got like a week to the event. You've got a week to the event, but like you've got a couple of days to enter. But yeah, please, if you eat, you haven't got usual 3 days. If you're only going for 1 day,
you can just go on the Saturday.
Just go on the Saturday. If you're off on the Friday, go on the Friday.
Yeah.
If
you come on the Saturday, then you can meet us.
Yes, we will be there on the Saturday doing some.
I will be hiding from my publishers.
Hey?
Publishers are going to be there. I'm going to hide from them.
No, you're interviewing them. So yeah, we'll be there on the Saturday. We'll be having a look around. We're probably going to do some videos and talk to some people. So see how it goes. But yes, that's us. That is us. You can find us if you are interested as well. If you don't know, links below. But at T_U_G_P on Twitter. Come say hello. Nettle, where can we find you?
I am Nettlecreates. You can find me on all good media platforms as Nettlecreates, and maybe even some bad ones.
Who knows until you Google.
Exactly.
You can find me on all of the same places as Tempusbe. And you can find our co-host, who doesn't happen to be here today, under Bendy's costuming. So
Probably.
please...
She doesn't know.
none of us know. But yeah, so that's it. That's us. We're done. We're done for a week.
Done for the week. We're done now.
We're done for the week. That's it. Clocking out.
Bye.
Right. Thank you all for joining us. We much appreciate it. We hope you all have a lovely weekend. Your camera, just not like you this evening. We shall see you again next week. But for now, I will say goodbye. Bye.